Welcome, my friends and enemies. Glad you are here. I am once again joined by the Council of the Light, Inquisitor Sage, and Inquisitor Balefurious. Balefurus.
Belfirus.
Balefirus.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because that's what I want to do this whole show.
I mean, to be fair, once we stop talking about this, it will be Balefirus from existence for all I care.
I want to Belfire this show so hard, Rage teaches to exist.
I mean, they're trying hard promoting season 4 becoming a thing. I don't know if it'll do anything, but if it does, I'm gonna be so pissed at everybody's like, they're not gonna do anything about it. It's not gonna change.
Well, it depends on, like, with these shows.
I have no
They
power.
they usually do 3, 4, or 5 year contracts.
Nobody has any power until they do.
They do either 3, 4, or 5 year contracts with these shows. So if they only did 3 years and the show's low ratings, they'll cancel it.
I mean,
Yeah, regardless though,
before season 2 was finished, they greenlit season 3.
Because they basically had all the actors on the contract. They paid them already.
Since season 4 is not greenlit right now, the actors are probably going to find new jobs, which makes it really awkward to do a season 4.
That would be really funny if all the main characters go get different jobs. They can't continue the series.
Yeah.
Like, defeated by our own negligence. Oh, goodness gracious. But anyway, we got some not fun topic, aka episode 8 of season 3, which for some reason is the second highest rated in the series, and next to episode 4 of the season. And I don't understand for the life of me why it's so high, because nothing in it makes sense.
I have one positive comment about the episode.
That it ended the series?
Oh.
Well, that would be 2.
But still only counts as 1.
So there have been, 24 episodes of the show?
8 times 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
This is the one episode where the pacing was actually good and you didn't feel like you were being dragged through a minefield while people were shooting at you trying to watch it.
Sorry, did we see the same episode?
yeah.
Well, what I mean is,
I felt like I was
is,
getting dragged over nails,
no.
shoved up in my
The
back.
storyline did that. What I mean is, like, they didn't, with all the scenes in the show, like they would constantly have like relationship garbage and also like interrupting the actual plot of the show. Whereas here was a bunch of cuts from plot to plot for the most part. There was no, like, they didn't stop for a 10-minute journey into a Green Object gangbang or something. You know, they didn't go to like a 5-minute sojourn into, Leandrin's great grandma, how she had a tea ceremony or whatever.
You mean there's no random side story bullshit?
Yeah. It was just the actual plot.
Yeah.
So when I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, plot.
Half of it didn't feel like plot. It felt like them just trying to give the characters something to do. Like Moraine,
that's because this show,
Moraine and Lanfear's entire thing, Rand pissing off Lanfear, Egwene showing up.
The writing is abysmal. We know that. I'm just saying.
How does Egwene come in and make Lanfear disappear? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, she's now super powered and a dream walker.
Egwene's new name is Brawley.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like, it's just like the entire fight with Moraine and Lanfear didn't seem like it had a purpose. Lanfear shouldn't have been there to begin with.
Well, no,
after everything happened,
it seemed like it had a purpose until the very end, where we see that they both.
But what was the purpose?
Survived.
Lanfear just wants Rand to die. Lanfear never wants Rand to die until later on in the series.
No, the purpose was to kill Lanfear, but they fucked it up because she escaped.
Well, that was their purpose, but why are they trying to kill Lanfear when they have bigger fish to fry?
Because Lanfear was torturing Egwene, and that's not allowed.
Well, then Rand could have done it in the dream world.
No, but
why not just teach him how to do the dream world?
I don't know.
Why not make it super easy for you to do something? Make her believe him, and then him just chop her head off. Shocking, considering Moraine's retarded, and all she can do is stab you with a slashing weapon. And that doesn't do anything because they can just go back.
Swords are also stabbing weapons.
Huh?
Swords are also stabbing weapons.
Not curved katana type swords.
No, they are.
They're
notorious. You can stab with a curved sword.
So curved swords, as in like actually going like this, sure, that's a slashing. But if curved is like barely a curve, then it's also a stabbing
And
weapon.
I'm saying it's barely a curve like a katana, but then you have the
Mhm.
little cut on the end, which leans it away from the blade. So you'd have to tip
So?
it down to do it, and that's not what they're really designed for. They're
No, but you can
designed as a
still cut,
slashing.
stab really well with them.
Depending on if they have armor or something. Yeah, I'm sure you could do that with a bread knife. But my point
Yeah,
stands is
which
that
is also a stabbing weapon.
yes, but either way, if you try to stab somebody, that will not kill them immediately.
Anything with a pointy end is a stabbing weapon.
Or can be used as one.
So my knuckles are a stabbing weapon.
They don't have pointy ends.
There are pointy ends. Sir.
That's not a point.
That is a point. It's just got flesh on top of it.
No.
Your argument is invalid. But anyway,
Well, you've
Moraine
never
was too
read-
stupid to be able to behead Lanfear because that would shorten the plot quite a bit. So everything
She should've learned
is
from
plot.
you later.
It's too soon. No, that wasn't too soon. That was way too late. But no, like I think that the Swan actress had like other prior commitments or something, so that's why they got rid of her or something. I don't know. Swan basically has no purpose in this series except to bang Moraine, talk about Moraine, and then basically get.
And you know, the thing I
pushed
don't want to say
around.
is, the actress who played Swan is not a bad actress. She's just not.
I don't
good
know. I've
enough.
never seen her in anything but bad stuff, so I can't tell if she's a good or bad actress. Except I can presume she's a bad actress because she acted really bad. I was not
Right,
convinced by
but
her.
to be fair, the bad acting in this is almost certainly a writing problem.
Yeah.
for
And that's the
most
thing is like
actors.
it could be. I don't think what's her face that plays Moraine? I just totally blanked on her name. Starts with an R.
Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund Pike. I don't
so
think
the
she's that
actress
good of
who
an actress,
played-
but everyone else thinks like adores her and thinks she's great. I'm like, I don't think she's that good of an actress.
She's been in a bunch of stuff. The one who plays
Being in a bunch of stuff does not make you a good actress.
she's been good in a bunch of stuff, like in Aeon Flux, which is the movie.
I think she was in Gone Girl or something like that. Was something keep
She was in
remembering. I never
Hellboy,
watched
the 2019 Hellboy movie. She was in.
She was a Bond girl in what, Die Another Day or something? Tomorrow Never Dies? Something like that. I don't know.
She was in a couple of. She was in some two good Doctor Who episodes of the modern series, The Beast Below and The Pandora Opens.
But that's her.
Yep.
just don't care about her in any shape or form. And
She's a decent actress. I mean, she's a decent actress. She's not. Point I'm getting at is
if they're not directing her to specifically act the way she's acting, she's a terrible actress. Because the way that she's acting is not anything like Moraine, despite her reading the books and allegedly.
Yeah.
knowing.
Oh, okay. So Rosamund Pike is also a decent actress. I'm talking about the Swan Sensei actress.
Oh, I was talking about Rosamund.
The problem is the material they're given for these characters is C level material. Like Roger Corman's films are better than the show in terms of writing.
Sure, I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is that there are some characters, like the Fael actress, when she plays Fael, I can feel Fael, the Saldean fire kind of a thing.
That only tells me that the actor or actress read the actual novels and doing it on their own.
Don't think she did, but I just think she did a really good job of kind of becoming that endearing Fael to Perrin character. Now, most people don't.
Everyone hates Fael.
No, endearing to Perrin.
Okay, fair
Like
enough.
Perrin and her relationship comes
Who
off
hates
as kind of
Fael?
a natural relationship, despite it being extremely short and popping out of nowhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
hates
everyone
Fael?
hates Fael, and I don't know why, because Fael is the
Yeah,
least.
I also
It's one of the
don't really know
least
why.
women.
There are at
to
least
hate.
10 other characters who you should hate.
Exactly.
Elaine and Egwene being at the top of that list. I hate Elaine and Egwene more than I hate Elida. That tells you how much I hate them.
Yeah.
Well, I hate Ketsuan.
More than I hate Semirog, Grendel,
Like at one point, I was like,
and Lanfear.
if Rand Belfire in the universe got rid of Ketsuan, it might be worth it. I actually thought that at one point.
No, because then I can't see Catswain, Balefire, Egwene, and Elaine.
Okay, so let's
It's my fan fiction. Never mind. Anyway, fan fiction. It's as close as I get to fan fiction. Here we go. So we start out with, as you might expect,
A black screen, the best scene, the best shot of the film.
no, it's not black, technically speaking.
Mm-hmm. Right, it's really fucking dark.
Elida is basically
Oh yeah, yeah. She's
plotting.
randomly came out of the doorway.
Now, before we get to our normal criticisms, the narrative structure of this episode, we have to show a flashback. This flashback should have been shown episodes previous.
Well, no, the flashback should never have been there because it doesn't tell us anything new.
Well, I agree in that sense, but I'm saying if you're going to do a flashback to the election of Swan and the betrayal of Elena, right? That would make more sense to have shown it when Elena first comes on scene, right? When you do it here, it's from a structural point of view, it feels confusing. You're going because you're just like duplicating the same scene again.
Well,
Or
it feels confusing because that's the quality of writing, so it is confusing.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway.
And they're talking to Alviarin. I can't stand her voice. She just annoys me to no end.
Oh, I forgot what she sounds like already. So
She
I
does
would
like a
leave it
deep
like that.
voiced smoker person. And you can't
Oh, you mean
understand.
Elida? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
But
thought you were
she's
talking
never
about
smoked
Althea.
Mike
Elena.
Wazowski.
That kind of thing.
She apparently has never
Yeah.
smoked a day in her life.
Apparently,
I don't
she
believe that.
she
That's-
wrecked her throat if she didn't.
I don't know what she did, but that's not a good sign. Probably.
That's not a voice you come by naturally.
Anyway, randomly out of nowhere, we suddenly have the Red Daughter Angriel. No explanation what it is, and she comes out with a
Honestly,
bracelet
I
or
never
something.
actually noticed that was that was what that was because I just didn't care. I just didn't care because the red door frame I don't think ever is seen publicly, and it would technically still be in the waste right now.
Well,
Because
so this one.
well, if it's the one in
surely
tier,
must be.
it's
This
not
must be the
moved.
one in tier.
It hasn't moved yet though.
Yeah, but I mean, the show doesn't care.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is like they just
The
magically
one in
have it appear.
Tenchico.
If you have this
It's
super
the one
crazy
that's supposed to be
overpowered
in
door frame
Iridium.
that you could just put every sister through and have this really like super power up system, like why would you not do that?
Yeah, but that's also weird because it must be the one that just gives you answers to questions.
So this is weird because this whole thing is a flashback, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Alviarin. Oh, what?
Why is Moraine here?
This is the flashback. This is when Swan Sanche becomes.
Yeah, but
Umbrella.
Moraine's not there.
She is in the show. She lives in the tower, dude. What are you talking about? She's never gone.
She is supposed to never have returned after initially.
Now you're applying
leaving.
book logic, good sir.
Yeah.
Stop being a book cloak and a bigot. There's a reason they both start with B.
And that's
Because
the point, actually.
somebody made an association fallacy. But so basically you have this non-existent thing. And technically speaking, I don't know if Moraine left the tower before she got raised or not because it doesn't really mention it.
No, she got raised and then they went on their solo mission
Yeah,
to
that's true. That's true. She went
to
north.
the Borderlands.
She went north and then
And then
Swan
I think
stayed
in
here.
Condor they sort of split up.
Yeah. So Alviarin and Elida are going to be like working together, but Alviarin betrays
Swan
Elida.
went back and became the Amelin, and Moraine from that point never set foot in the
This
tower
is the
again.
perfect time for them to follow the tradition of the tower and take their tops off to prove they're women.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because sisters and brother is kind of an awkward.
Just a bit.
Because we had to have a trans person.
The trans Sedai, yeah.
Trans.
Oh.
Trans
Actually, it does
allegory
flow
Sedai.
quite nicely.
Transmission Sedai.
Wait, are they maybe that's a secret clue she's actually a dark friend because we know the dark one does trans people.
True.
Well, also, yeah, but that would be too obvious then as a black odd job because like that's no woman. But and then we also have freaking Swan in a pantsuit, and it just pisses me off. This modern bullcrap.
Mm-hmm. Also, this is really awkward because so the I think the keeper asks who is for this person, and then a bunch of the sitters that are supposed to say, "Oh yeah, I'm actually for Swan," They just don't stand up until like way after the moment has passed. Surely they can't all have just decided, oh yeah, actually no, I'm going to change my mind.
Apparently they can. She kisses a picture
And
of
this is not a
Moraine.
book thing, right?
Hmm?
Like Aleda wasn't contesting with Swan.
I don't think so, no.
Um,
Well, we don't know actually. I don't think it's
no,
ever mentioned.
I think they were. I believe they were actually. They
Wasn't
were.
Aleda already in Andor?
Elida was in Andor helping Morghese, I believe, come to power in Andor. And Swan got voted in as the Amerlin seat. And Elida was her like competition because Elida, Nynaeve, or not Nynaeve, frick me. Elida, Swan
Saying it's,
Sanche, and Moraine
competition.
were all like novices together and accepted.
Mm-hmm.
So they all got raised. If I recall correctly, Elida gets raised to Aes Sedai the same time Swan and.
No, Elida is already Aes Sedai.
Oh yeah,
long before.
she just becomes an Aes Sedai a little bit before they do, and then they come up, and I believe because their power strength, they beat her or something. I don't
And
know.
she's trying to, in her own way, trying to mentor them, and that has the opposite effect.
She overdoes it, but she thinks she's right, and so she holds a grudge against them, and they obviously choose blue, but she thinks they're going to choose red. Why would you ever choose red if red's going to just abuse you all the time? That's not how human motivation works. Honestly, Leanne, if I could see her being a Damani woman, which she's not.
So Elida wasn't accepted when Swan and Moraine were novices, and then Aes Sedai while the two were accepted.
Yeah. And Elida has always had dreams of becoming the Amerlin seat, and Swan got it, and that's kind of put a sour taste in her mouth. But the Leanne keeper, I mean, she's got decent style. It's Asian and all that jazz, which I can dig. It's just she's not Damani. Like, they're like Arabian, not Asian. So, and she doesn't dress even remotely like they would, even in the conservative.
Well, just another case of them ignoring what they drew in the book to make their own,
And then they make it really dumb because they're like, oh, we're gonna outsmart our opponents by doing something. Like they're going off to gentle. Like anybody, like Moraine is just gonna let them come in and gentle him. Like she wouldn't whisk him away to someplace that's safe. Or if Moraine has mentioned anything about the Wise Ones in any shape or form, the Wise Ones aren't gonna let them do squat to the Karakarn. And there's more Wise Ones than 8 freaking Aes Sedai.
Well, I don't think the Aes Sedai know that though.
But what I'm saying is, it's like Moraine's got to handle him. If Moraine, like she, in this particular universe, she has like a connection to be able to basically get to Moraine in some shape or form. And with Moraine having the Dreamwalkers, she could dreamwalk straight into Swan's thing and tell her everything she needs to know.
Yeah.
By the way, we're doing this. We're the Aes Sedai are leaving the tower. Where are they going? They don't know where he is. They're going to have 8 random red Aes Sedai wander around for infinity, not know what the frick is going on. Like, it's so stupid.
Well, the red Aja makes as little sense in the show as it does in the books.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes more sense in the books. We're filling our toe by cutting.
If the theme of your Aja is you can accidentally gentle the dread Reborn, if that fits with them, Aja does.
Well, see, that to me is more of a different case. That to me is like, okay.
Clever trick. Yes.
I'm gonna use a I'm gonna use a theological term because it's the easiest one I can kind of relate to since Easter just passed. So, if Jesus is literally the Jewish Messiah, like literally the Jewish Messiah, and he comes and says, I am literally your Messiah. And they're like, blasphemer! And they crucify him. Kind of hard to have a Messiah appear. Because as soon as somebody claims they're the Messiah, you're going to cut them off, right? It's that kind of a thing. It's like
presumably.
the Dragon Reborn's like, I am the Dragon Reborn. Cut it off. Just cut it off. It's like, okay. Or in the particular world where men can channel, but they can go crazy, and they don't have anyone to really teach them. Like Mazrim Taim seemingly just got stupid lucky, and Logain got stupid lucky. Ran apparently has no stupid luck like that, despite being a Taviran, ironically. And everything takes a lot longer for him to come together. So it's just like, they're thinking, well, we need to capture him and keep him here. I'm like, then how is he going to even know how to use his powers to fight the Dark One? The Aes Sedai are just dumb and can't figure out this basic common sense. Also, this is all stupid because we have Samael caught in a cave, and somehow Lanfear and Moghedien know where he is.
Yeah.
It's like they put trackers on each other or something. It's freaking weird.
Well, here's another thing with what Moghedien does to him here. That makes no sense because while the Dark One, he gave them a specific set of rules, he would not want them sniping each other because it would weaken his hand in the field because he's stuck behind the barriers.
Also,
So,
where did Moraine suddenly learn the how to tie off a shield?
she figured out in the
What
process
do you
of
mean
making
suddenly? That's pretty.
Because no one knows how that works apparently until
well.
she gets shielded by Ishamael.
Well, she just watched Ishamael and learned.
Yeah, but that's not impossible.
It is literally possible in the show.
Yeah, there's no
Maybe.
like separate sighting inside R in the show.
But also,
They
tying off
mention
a
sighting
shield
inside R.
makes the
They just don't
shield
tell you what the
super brittle.
differentiation is.
Yeah, they just don't. Yeah,
But they also don't tell you that you can't literally physically harm a weave. Which they do
Well,
several times in the series, which is
that's
stupid.
a book thing.
It's not a book thing. You can't. Okay, if there's a weave, like if I say I'm gonna cast fire at you, I can't take a sword from the side and chop it, and then the fire goes
Oh,
physical.
that's what you mean with physically. Okay, yeah,
like
sure.
physically,
Okay.
like
Well,
you can't use
that's
physical
the
things.
way they are in the book.
But
in the stupid show,
well,
you can't do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's inconsistent though, because in
Also,
some
they forgot that tying off a shield makes it super weak.
what.
Well, there's no.
Well, here's the consistency
there's-
problem. Here's the consistency problem. What good is a shield of air that can literally get holes blown through it? It's not a shield then.
But at the end, there's no consistency in this show. So
What do you mean? Regular shields also can get holes blown through them.
They're regular
not
shields, not
enough.
magical shields.
we
Yeah, but
talked about this all three
That doesn't
seasons.
stop it from being a shield.
This show established its
No.
own rules for something
In
and
the
then
books,
changed them anyway.
if you make a shield of air, nothing but another weave is going to harm that shield. You can shoot arrows at it. Literally,
we
the
all
point
know
of
that.
a shield of air is to block
Arrows,
arrows.
sure.
Physical,
But like
physical,
maybe
tangible
a
things.
cannon, right, could pass through.
No inclination that it can. I don't know. It
So
could. It
if you
could
do
be
a shield reef, you just become invulnerable.
to physical stuff, yes. But also remember, it takes a lot. The more damage it takes. Arrows don't
But
give you
it's
a lot of damage.
invulnerable, so it can't take any damage.
No. You take damage like mental damage. Your ability to channel. Your
You
limitations
take
are
mental
reached.
damage when your shield gets hit.
I'm saying mental damage because like you can't lift somebody super heavy without it exhausting you.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are limitations, and like you can't just pick things up and fling them without any consequences.
But there's also a limitation in that you cannot output more than your maximum output, let's call it. And so if
But
that's
all
not
good
strong
stuff from
enough,
the book.
I know,
but
Okay.
a powerful blast might be able to get through if it's strong enough.
but we
to-
don't know because it's never
do so.
tested. But we do know that they say that the weave of air is solid. We don't know how solid. We just know thick enough where things don't even like arrows
Yeah,
don't
sure,
arrows don't
solid,
go
but-
bing and stick to it like they would
No, I
wood
get
or
that.
anything else.
I get that. But solid doesn't mean indestructible.
Technically speaking, no. But when I'm talking about like actually affecting weaves, like for example, when what's her name, the new Daisy Conger or whatever, when she puts up that shield,
Yeah.
and they're just like
And
boop,
like,
boop, boop,
is
boop,
that
boop.
this episode? No, right?
It was
That's the last.
That's Daisy Conger was the new
Yeah, but
wisdom.
that was the last episode, right?
7th, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like when she puts this up and arrows go flying through her shield, There was
No, they
literally no
don't
reason
fight
for the
you.
shield to be there because it just went
They
right through them.
destroy the shields at certain points because she's weak or
I
something.
don't think a single one was stopped by that shield, which defeats the entire purpose of the shield. Plus, you don't have to stand behind the shield directly in order to shield things. You could stand behind a building and do it.
Yeah, but she doesn't know that. So
Well, she doesn't know how to do anything, and yet she does a lot of things. So there's a whole lot of weird stuff
true,
going there.
True.
But what I'm saying is that, like, when Stefan, in the first season, uses an axe to attack Logain and cuts through an actual shield on Logain, you can't do that. That's literally
no,
not
I don't
possible.
think that's what happened there.
That's literally what happened. Watch that episode. His axe
No,
literally embeds in the shield, breaking the shield, which allows him to reach the power. Yes. Go watch it again.
The axe goes through the shield.
No,
and then
it
Logain
stops.
inside the shield channels into the axe. And because the axe is both inside and outside of the shields.
You can't channel while you are shielded, so you can't channel into
but
the axe
that's not
to
how it
do
works
anything.
in the show. In the show, you can channel, but your channeling can't go through the shields.
But that's what I'm saying, is that's not how channeling operates.
Yeah, no, but that's book knowledge. Why are you trying to use book
And if
logic
that was the
here?
case, why didn't anybody in that room who's not an absolute complete dimwat, which means there's nobody there because they're all dimwats,
Yeah.
why would
that's a
nobody
point.
grab him and pull him back?
Because they were stupid.
Yes. But again, plot holes. Lots and lots of plot holes. I don't know why she looks like she's about to give this dude a BJ, but whatever. No one's going to remember who you are. Nobody cares because he's going to die a dumb death. And this still looks like a dumb version of the city. I don't understand it, but whatever. Oh, Leandrin's so obnoxious. Oh, this. So, okay. This is supposed to be Jeanne Caddy, but I believe she's supposed to be Gamalfin. Who's it? Marina McGolfin? Whatever her name is. Because she has the little white streak.
I have
in her
no
hair.
idea what you're trying to say.
There's one of the Black Sisters is like something that starts with an M.
Yeah, but we already established that they randomly fuse characters
Yeah,
together.
but I don't know
right?
who Jean Cadet is off the top of my head. I know who Chesmal is.
Yeah,
I know
no
who
idea.
Leandrin is. I don't know who Jean Cadet is, but maybe she's one of the other sisters that dies off early or something. I don't know. But the way she holds the rod, do you remember like Nerd Roddick when they first covered what's Snyder's Star Wars equivalent? Rebel Moon. And has the one girl holding the shotgun like this.
Sure, I never watched that, so I don't know.
Well, I didn't either, but
what you're
he
referring to.
has a clip that he goes, yeah, like this little girl going, yeah, like an anime girl.
Oh, I just remember the sound.
Okay. Well, it's the girl going, yeah, but she's holding the gun like this, like a retard. And that's basically what I thought of when I saw this. I was just like, she's literally just that.
But this
character
is
again.
like not a gun, is it?
It's a rod that shoots balefire, so technically speaking, it's worse than a
Yeah,
gun.
but okay.
Why they do a beam, I don't know, because it's a single like sliver. It's not like a thing. It's like shooting a pencil, and it's like sideways.
Maybe if you continuously fire, it becomes a beam.
It's never mentioned in the books that anything is continuously fired.
Well, I didn't.
Only the
know.
size, and it is a projectile. You cannot be a beam
so
and a projectile.
This character does exist in the novels.
Okay.
But they picked a less important one? That's
She was
weird.
one of the 7 Aes Sedai escorted Swan Sanche and Moraine to Tamra Ospenia when they were to raise for accepted Aes Sedai, swear to the oaths.
Is she a black
and she's
Asha?
one of Leandra's people, like she is here.
Okay, but
Okay.
not the same appearance.
But what about Gamalfin? Because Gamalfin was the one I'm more familiar with.
Jeanne had a typical appearance of a typical Domani with coppery skin and a swan neck. She had dark brown eyes. She detested men and chose green partly so she could beguile and control them, if she was not attracted to women.
Well, they picked an attractive woman, but they didn't pick a freaking Damani woman.
Correct.
They didn't pick an attractive woman for Leandrin, though. And that frizz.
Well, they had to make many of you people have to be white in their view. So.
And Mogedion shows up, and I can't stand Mogedion with the passion. Like, look at this. Watch this. She sits it on like barely, and it like morphs onto her. It didn't show it. It like she pulls it on, but it's still like hanging off of her wrist like this. Like it's squishing the very edge of it, which is not how a brace would work. It would go on down here. It's like a sleeve.
That is the opposite of Morganian. How she's supposed to look.
Well, she's not behaving like Mogedion. She's behaving like a psychopath. Psychopaths are not notorious for like well-planned systems and being careful.
That's a whole technical discussion because I mean, a lot of psychopath. The word psychopath is the more clinically correct term for what people call sociopath.
That's a jawline. Blah blah blah. Let's piss off Lanfear. Blah blah blah. Piss off Lanfear. More piss off Lanfear. You're a monster. Ah! I'm gonna go black goopy too. Blah. This is my venom.
Does it
move.
ever explain what this
Blah.
black goop is?
It's venom. It's the symbiote.
Well, I don't think they do.
It's the symbiote.
Well, yeah,
It's
but I mean,
there, right? I mean, we can assume maybe true power, but who knows?
This is where Egwene shows up to make rice balls. Just... that's stupid.
Huh. I guess that's one way to.
She'll come for me
Come
now.
for me now.
She's not gonna charge in here like an idiot. But I
Yeah, and
always
also-
love this because Avienda is holding dual wielding flame spears.
Yeah.
What the frick is that?
Also, she's not allowed to touch any weapons as a.
Well, they're not weapons. They're the one
Otherwise-
power, technically speaking. They're not physical.
No, but it's like still a spear that she puts on fire, right?
they should show like the wise ones going like this when they see I do that. Like,
Yeah. But yeah. Also, why are they looking at the bed as if Lanfear will appear right there?
Well, don't you see in the middle of the bed that carpet blanket thingy? That's the summoning circle, and this is an isekai. So they're gonna
okay,
they're gonna
no, that's
isekai Lanfear into this room so they can kill her.
Good point. Good point.
to use the summoning jutsu to find our place.
So,
Even Bear's like, y'all stupid.
yeah. But also, they gave up like 5 seconds in, right?
And then, of
Yeah.
course, Melindra. We already knew that, and I did call that earlier. But I was like, yeah, Melindra's going to be the bad guy. He's going to have to try to kill Lan. And it's like, you, no, not you.
But how would she know her?
Because Lanfear's the one who got Melindra out when she was younger.
But Lanfear was sealed in a random rock
No,
for thousands of years.
Don't you be using this logic and
So-
consistency and non-plot
And
hole.
what they
thinking
did in the show,
patterns. That's not how this works.
We talked about this in previous seasons, by the way.
Did we?
Oh yes, when we're talking about which Forsaken they were, remember we were looking at all the like symbols and whatever. So like we know in the books that some of the Forsaken were bound away higher level, like because multiple seals broke.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. So so we know that they got out sooner than others, right? But apparently, like not as far back as the show did it. The show is apparently playing fast and loose with the idea that some of the Forsaken were
No, but
bound
only
away.
Ishamael got out.
Ishamael was able to come out for a time, go back in, come out for a time, go back in because of
Yeah,
how
but
close
the rest
he was
of
to the
them were
surface.
all locked in.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they're taking it and saying, well, if he could be, then that means all of them could be. Which doesn't make sense because if he could be and they all could be, then they could all be doing stuff to strengthen dark friend relations in all the towns and cities and nations and everything. So when they come back, everyone's a dark friend.
Well, that would be good writing, which doesn't happen in the show.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying is if I don't have a writing degree and I can come up with better plot lines than them, that's a problem.
We've long since established that.
Now, this face on Nynaeve, she keeps this face the entire time. She's in a perpetual state of worry
Okay.
and concern, which is not Nynaeve's nature.
I would say constipation, but based on that,
I mean, sure, go for that too. But I'm saying, like, she's like constantly afraid and dry washing her hands and oh no, hurry up, guys, hurry up. Like that's how she's behaving. That's not Nynaeve. Even when she's blocked, she's still angry all the time. She still freaking gets pissed off for the dumbest things, like I can't believe you were 5 minutes late. Ah! And then she can also channel the sun out of existence. Like she's a psychopath when it comes to being temper tantrums. She's the polar opposite here. I don't understand it, and it irritates me to no end because I like Nynaeve. I can't stand Elaine.
I can't stand these outfits.
Yeah, but like, look how she walks in.
I
She's
mean,
like,
can anyone?
do I go in? Do I? And the Min's like, hey, let's go, guys. Dead bodies. That's great. Oh my gosh. And then here we have Samael.
Also, why did they name this episode "He Who Comes with the Dawn" when that was like several episodes ago with Ridian?
Look at this. She's like a toddler. Okay, first
I
off, how does she know where Samael is?
No idea.
And this stupid show.
She doesn't.
This stupid show doesn't show them actually. They're under orders from the Dark One to do certain things, which doesn't include killing each other.
Well, he didn't say they couldn't kill each other. He just gave them orders.
Early on, they're not allowed to kill each other. If you remember, that opportunity was
yeah, but that ended 10 minutes ago. We're allowed to do it now.
Well, I'm talking in the actual book. You know,
I know that's
the
reason. It was like, oh, that was a couple minutes ago. That's okay.
They're writing them as if they're their own free agents and could do whatever the fuck they want.
I mean, Grendel killing Asmodean got her in trouble.
Yeah.
But Moghedien here's... well, actually, here's the funny thing. Maybe Moghedien gets in trouble for killing Samael with the Dark One in like the next season or 2 seasons or whatever, if they ever get to the seasons. And then she gets put into an ugly body, and the ugly body is actually better looking than this one. And actually not like psychopathic. It'd be freaking weird. The Dark One has a very twisted sense of humor.
For anyone who made it this far, so the character Moghedien is supposed to be sturdy with long black hair and big eyes, like she's supposed to be
and not a freaking Gollum character.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then she plays.
They heard Spider and they thought, oh, it must be creepy.
And yeah, so Spider, she's basically Carnage. She could just serial kill people and use their blood as giant webs like a spider. I love this walking one by one because we know that the Aiel will actually walk in like columns of 4. So this was kind of just silly. And we follow the way of the leaf. They can't know this. They don't know this. Blah, 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 blah. And everyone's freaking out. And Egwene's obnoxious. And then, oh, no, no, no. 4 of the clans here. El Kaere Dial.
So,
or however he says it.
This is apparently a good, in the show, a solid percentage of the Aiel military right here.
Yep. Also, look at that very nice acoustic.
They mentioned it's only going to be like 100,000 Aiel soldiers in the show.
Which is literally like, what, 1/10 of what there actually is?
More like 1/20th or 1/30th, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying like there's probably not 1 million military power Aiel.
Well, the way the Aiel society is, they like the Fremen. All of them are military. You know what I mean?
Well, except for like the women, the children, the blacksmiths, that kind of a thing.
Well, the blacksmiths aren't, but the women, I'm pretty sure the average Aiel woman will go.
They will defend their holds. They don't go on campaign. That's my
correct,
point.
but they're still more capable of fighting than most.
Oh yeah,
people.
yeah. I'm not. I agree with that. But when I'm thinking military, I'm thinking active, like aggression, not defensive.
So every Aiel clan is going to have. I would guess, based on what it said in the novel, 1 in 200,000 military capable men or fighters, I should say.
There are a lot of really big clans.
Yeah, well, I'm saying the bigger ones have more than that. You know.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a percentage,
Yeah.
but in typical fashion for what the Wetlanders would typically do would probably be more like 10% of your population would be your military. But the Aiel don't operate that way because the Aiel mostly military.
Well, okay. So let's get a few historical terms here. Medieval militaries are not well. There's two. Regardless of time period, there's 2 groupings of your military. There's your active established force, and then there's your force you call up when you call up, like draftees, trainees, all that sort of stuff, right? So the active force relative to population, generally speaking, is between 10 and 20% at most, because it takes a lot of logistics to support the active military, right? So um, when you call up the other force and you have that tremendous, you have the other, when you multiply your 10, you're saying, let's say it's 15% of your population, and you go to being more like 8% of your population. Yes, it's a massive increase of quality declines, but the logistics can only maintain that for so long. The IEO are different in that their whole society is structured to maintain a military campaign. You know,
Well, kind of. They've never gone on a campaign until the IO War. They just raided each other all the time.
basically, yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, they're not actively like, we need to keep an active force because we're gonna go attack anybody whoever, cuts down a
Well,
tree.
their entire society is built around an active military force.
Well, yes, their entire society is built on a warrior society. Yes. I just don't think that like when they go out to raid, they're not raiding with 100,000 people.
Well, they don't need to.
Well, yes, it would
Yeah,
be
but
very
mostly
bad for
you know how to
logistical. So.
fight.
Yeah.
It's more of they're protecting their own lands. They're doing what they got to do. But if they go out to raid, they might have a couple thousand or something, maybe a couple hundred. Go raid sheep or herds of whatever might be there. I still don't like them using desert like this, like sand deserts, because they're a waste, not a desert, technically speaking. It's supposed to be like cracked earth and lots of stone, not just sand dunes. This is more like dune.
Well, they're in the show, they're the Fremen.
Yeah, but even in the
Well,
show,
they're not.
half the time they're
They're,
showing them in a
they're
waste. They just
actually-
can't keep it consistent.
They're a knockoff of the Fremen in the show.
And Savannah being Savannah, and then random wise one who is whatever. Lanfear comes in, is like, let me give you these, even though I don't know if she's ever actually seen them, but it is what it is. And then you have Elida dressing all fancy-mancy. They're like, hey, they're going to do stuff. Send our 20 of our best sisters. Like, that's totally something you're going to fall for, because you don't have any eyes or ears or anything in the tower at this point. And then you have Leandrin looking around and seeing the dead bodies. You see Nynaeve running around the dead bodies. Tom and Elaine talking about dead bodies and everything else about the palace. And
The bodies hit the floor.
And you have Min and Matt preparing to have somebody to die, clearly. Leandrin comes in, but she's going to be going to a room where Nynaeve is. You got Min and Matt talking about dumb stuff. You got these two just randomly walking around open territory and everything. And he's like, I don't know this Gabriel because I know all of the people I know all of the nobles basically everywhere, which is kind of his thing. It's his shtick. They got that right at least.
Yeah, but
Is this
also,
the same actor who played him in the first season?
Yes.
they really fucked up with
Yeah, he
Gabriel
apparently
being
had to, like, the reason he
mind
wasn't
controlled,
in
right?
after the other time periods was because he had prior engagements. But after his prior engagements were gone, he came back, and that's how he got here.
And again, they have this whole thing where the Forsaken were out a lot sooner.
Excuse me.
Yeah, except weren't they all freed only at the end of season 2?
By the time Tanchico happens,
I think it was a
Morgedian and everybody's
flashback.
out. Like Ravine.
No, because in season 2, right, Ishamal died, and after that we see Lanfear and Morgedian meet, where apparently Morgedian was freed by Ishamal before he died, and she has freed all the other Forsaken. Because apparently the seals were just sort of randomly in that room, and they
And
were
there's
all
more of
broken.
that inconsistency.
Well, in order to be inconsistent, you have to actually know what being consistent
But Gabriel,
is, so.
right? His thing, and that's where they fucked up.
You mean
Is
Ravine?
no Gabriel?
Ravine is Gabriel.
Yeah, but I mean Gabriel, as in specifically his
Forsaken.
persona.
Yes. He's actually a really likable guy.
Yeah, he's really likable, but also the fact that they did the whole memory alteration thing, that's really fucking up this whole secrecy plot. Because obviously anyone who's not there at the point he does the mind control, right, would instantly realize, wait a minute, Who's this Gabriel person?
He's been there since I was a little girl. I was there when you were a little girl. No one was there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. So why would he do that rather than just
it's a plot.
infiltrate?
It's a plot
in the
device
normal way?
of exposition for you to understand that the characters now can understand that something is not right, and this Lord Gabriel is not supposed to be who he's supposed to be. Blah 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 blah. Which obviously we as the viewer knows, but the characters don't know. So this is how the characters find out.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But it's still weird.
What is weird, but it's
It's-
also poor writing. So what do you expect?
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
And then this one, look at just how she freaking holds it. It's like she doesn't know what a penis is or something. And then she completely misses. She's like, ah! Now, I don't know if you know this, but using the one power is not like a freaking weapon, like a firearm, or as you shoot it, you go backwards. Like,
Well, it's not.
no, it's magic. It's not a
But
like.
maybe it's Erangel, could be.
No,
No, probably not.
no, it's magic. Magic does not have a physical property of knockback or kickback, whatever you want to call it. So her going,
But yeah, still though,
doesn't make any sense
The
whatsoever.
very first thing you would assume if you're trying to attack with a pointy weapon is maybe I need to
Not
point it at
announce-
the target, right?
Yeah, and not announce your presence. Maybe just hit them in the back and just call it good. Call it a
Yeah,
day.
I mean that's a rookie mistake.
And also, if it does work as a beam, you would destroy the building you're in, which would kill you. Because it would go just wipe out everything.
If
Not
you
the
move
target.
it,
Well, yeah, but even if it goes further, it can hit what's beyond your target. That's the whole point of Balefire being like a bar that like passes at you, and as like the bar is coming towards you, it's of a particular size, thickness, width, all that kind of stuff, based upon how much of the one power is being used, and how much the one power being used will also affect on how far about goes back in time. Blah blah blah
yeah,
blah.
sure. But like a beam is not any different.
I mean, it
because if you
is.
just if you hold it still, right, and aim,
You do realize
it
that
would
your
Depends
Like
whether the
like
beam
a-
has an infinite range or not.
the blood in your body causes your body to shake inherently.
okay, sure,
Every
but then it
pulse.
would just be like instead of hitting this target, it would be like a bit.
And the
bigger.
further you go, the bigger the hole. Yes, because of
Sure.
the more wobbliness. But if you're shooting
That
like a
wouldn't destroy
projectile,
the building if you just pop a small hole in the wall somewhere.
that's assuming somebody doesn't sidekick you and you go, whoa. Just
Well,
like,
yeah, okay, but then
swing.
you just
Well,
stop channeling or
They're
die.
using
You're too
Balefire
stupid to
like
stop
a-
channeling. So
like it's a las gun from Dune, where it just
it
nukes
needs
everything.
to just be normal balefire. It doesn't need to be a beam. It's a projectile. We know this. And then Min now has a tattoo on her non-existent breasts. We see Matt.
Yeah, so Matt,
He
Fucking
goes
hell.
in and sees this is the eelfin.
no, Aelfin
Aelfin.
with AE.
I always get the
Because
mixed up.
the Aelfin are the foxes and the Eelfin are the snakes.
And then Chesmal shows up. And
The
Min's
snakes are
just-
apparently friendly, while the foxes are not.
I don't know why she's breathing heavily and whimpering if she's actually Min, because actual Min has knives and daggers and knows how to use them and would have killed Chesmal 3 times over.
Sure.
Well, that's actual men, not show men.
I know.
Also, all of the things Matt.
She kind of
asks
reminds me
for-
in this particular scene of Short Stack from Indiana Jones.
Okay. Oh yeah,
You mean
yeah. I
Short
can see
Round?
that.
Or Short Round, yeah, sorry. I call him Short Stack.
Do not generate the awesome short round with this character. I'm putting it in the same sentence with this character.
Yeah,
Short
Wait, are
round
you
is awesome.
saying that all Asians look the same?
I'm not saying it. Their face says it.
Fair enough.
Even though I think he's Japanese and she's Korean, but yeah. This all stupid because what Leandra's looking for is a collar that looks like the collared man on the side, which is what you'd think it would look like, considering that's what it looks like.
Yeah, but of course it doesn't.
But of
so-
course, it turns into an actual IDOM that is what it should have looked like for the freaking Shan shit, because for reasons. But they don't have the leash attached to the collar, which is stupid.
So I suspect that this thing is going to play a far bigger role in this Val show than it ever did in the book.
And then he's like, I'll go get it. He's like, no, I won't let you. And then she's like, this makes balefire. Like, he's going to know as a
Okay.
man who can't channel.
That's nice.
And then she shoots the ceiling after she gets pulsared out of the freaking way and knocked down.
And that's not how a pulsar works.
And
but
then she aims down like a freaking spear. Just. No, I'm saying like a pulsar, like a pulse.
Wait, what's that thing in the back there?
That's the after image.
That's not being balefire back in time.
Huh.
Yeah, that's how they use that to represent
I
like
missed that in the original.
all the rubble.
watch.
Well, here. He's like, yeah. You don't need to keep zapping somebody for that to happen. You just have to hit them and they disappear. So
Yeah,
it
also
goes
know
back.
how it-
That's
yeah,
back
yeah,
in
okay.
time. So the thing that she
Didn't see that.
did gets fixed.
But more so, why does the ground not disappear?
What do you mean?
Well, she's zapping the ground.
No, she was zapping the body, and she limits her powers because TV animation limits.
Cool. I guess that makes sense.
Remember, Elaine's not as incompetent as the silly little black sister,
That's true.
except she totally is.
And well, she has a particular talent.
Why
for,
they didn't give him a fox nose? The simplest fox aspect you could possibly give, because at this point, all we know is
Yeah,
he's
but
a furry.
they're not actually supposed to be foxes, right? They just have like facial features that sort of
That resemble a fox with, like, I don't know, a snout. I'm not saying they have to be literal foxes on all fours, but I'm saying
Yeah,
if
but
you have a
they're not
Khajiit-
supposed to have. For one,
They're not supposed to have what?
they are not supposed to have fur.
The foxes?
Obviously. Yeah, they have regular
The
skin.
the snakes have reptilian skin.
Yeah, but the foxes have white regular skin.
White regular skin.
Well, maybe
They
not
don't have fur on
exactly
top of their
regular,
skin.
They just have like normal skin
Flesh.
type skin rather than, you know.
Yeah. They don't have fur on top of their skin. They have,
Let's see. Do. The eelfin are snakes. The eelfin are the foxes. The eelfin resemble snakes and are also sometimes called the snake people or the snaky folk. The snaky folk. Here, snaky folk. Blah blah blah. The Tower of Genji.
man.
So there's the fin. Where is the there it is, the eelfin. All right, eelfin resemble foxes, leading them to be known as the fox people or foxy folk. Hey, foxy folk. They carry bronze daggers with rose vine patterns around the handle. Nothing about their appearance. I don't know. By the way, they screwed up his wishes, which is really annoying.
You mean they screwed something up?
Well, I guess the only one that works, or well, two that work are he gets anti-Aes Sedai stuff.
I want to be away from
and
you, and I
he
want to be done
gets
with the power.
to get out.
Instead of
But
having
they
the holes in his memory,
remove his memory rather than
fill the
fix
hole.
it.
Yeah.
I guess fixing was a bit, vague as a request. But it's not supposed to happen anyway, so.
And that's the thing, though, is like, I don't see anything describing them as not foxes or foxes. But if you refer to somebody as a fox folk or a foxy folk, then I would.
Fox-like characteristics, right? So that's the facial shape.
Finn have a similarity to Kitsune. This is not
Male
a
and
Kitsune.
female
This is
alike are
this
very
is not a
tall and
Kitsune
sinewy.
nose.
Despite shoulders that are too. Oh, that sentence doesn't work. Okay. They have white skin, deep set, almost colorless eyes, right? So not bright fucking red. Too big for a human face. Sharp teeth, narrow jaw. Pale reddish hair stands up stiffly,
Well, a narrow
and their
jaw would
ears
imply.
lie flat
Well,
against their
you know
faces.
what a kitsune is, right?
Yeah, but I
This
don't know
the-
what they look like because they look different in everything that
Well,
has them.
kitsune have more.
Kitsune look like
Foxes.
foxes.
They look more like foxes than this.
They
Sure.
literally are foxes once they transform into human people, but they have
Yeah.
more tails than a regular fox.
Kind of like the cat girls in anime. Anyway, yeah, we'll just skip past it. I thought that his visual looked okay, but he looks more like a Alice in Wonderland character. But he's wearing like this weird BDSM outfit over top his fur, which is kind of weird.
Oh yeah. They just look weird, right?
But
Not
they
the
got
good weird, but like
they got the
weird
daggers
weird.
right.
I guess I did mix up the elfin and
And
elfin.
then
though.
he's hanging here, but he just has his arms down. He's not going for his neck. He's not doing anything. He's just like.
This is the fastest. By the way, this is the fastest death by asphyxiation. Like
Yeah, I never tried this, so I don't know how long it usually takes. But
well,
I hear you're an expert, right?
well, I've read up on this for reasons, and
For reasons.
um,
Are you reading that girl smut again, where like they drown her head in
I
water
was
while
always
she's taking
interested in,
back shots or something?
I was always interested in like coroner TV shows and stuff like that. So whenever
So
there's
what you're saying is you're a sicko.
yeah, I'm a sicko. It takes a lot longer to go unconscious when they cut off your air.
But isn't the idea here that it sort of breaks your neck?
That's if you fall. He doesn't
Yeah,
falling. He's just there hanging.
He's just hanging.
Okay.
When you get hanged, because people get hanged.
Now this is funny because he's not in Aventosaurus branches, so it's the pole arm's
In
not
fact,
holding
this could
from
be
two things.
considered to be the very opposite of that.
Well, no, where Aventosaura has two branches at the or the
Ashandarai?
Ashandarai. Thank you.
So-
whatever. But the Ashandarai cannot fit across. So this one, it's literally like plunged into the top of this door frame.
You mean
So-
the indestructible redstone door
Yeah.
frame?
But it's only one side. So the other side, just wait, would have gone and slid you right off of it.
So when you hang
Only
a
if it's
person,
stuck inside, right?
there are
it's like a
two
spear
methods
that
of
you-
hanging a
The-
person.
a blade with weight is going to eventually wriggle free. And if you're jerking about because you're choking, you're going to eventually wiggle it out. It's not like
Sure, but like
buried
if
the
it's
full
super
blade
deep, right? Then maybe
It's not
it's,
deep
it
though.
takes a
It's
while.
only like this deep.
Well, I don't know how long the blade is on the other side of the.
It's designed as like a short sword.
Okay, but like an Ashandarai should be like a long.
Which
bladed
we
thing.
don't see him actually even get. She's just like, I know how CPR
Oh
works.
yeah, that's true. They've just forget it over here. Oh, so happy. Yeah. Well.
I can't remember how we got there.
Also-
I have amnesia.
Also, look at the fox medal, right? It
The
looks
medallion?
ridiculous.
It's a side. Yeah, kind of. The actual image that Robert Jordan had was an interesting one because it was a really fat medallion. I'm like, why would you ever wear that? But whatever. I have a Witcher medallion. I don't remember where it is, but I have it. And then this right here, like, look how she's behaving. She's like, come on, come on. That is not Nynaeve's behavior. And why is she looking outside the palace like they're just going to be randomly walking around Tanchico showing up?
Also, she's looking at the sea, right?
No, right now she's looking out the sidewalk
Yeah, no,
that
but
goes
like
around.
the sidewalk goes straight next to the wall. She's looking at an angle away from the wall.
Well, that's
which
where
is
the
where the
that's where
sea
the
is.
camera is. She's at an angle with the camera at the moment.
Yeah, but like that's also where the sea is.
Now she's looking at the sea, and then she turns around, and they're like, "Oh no! Like maybe I should hide and see if anybody I know comes out. Then I can pop out and show myself." Instead, she's like, "No, I'm just gonna stand here in the wide open at the entrance, which is for some reason at the seaside. For some reason, when we all know that the palace is in the middle of the freaking city, closer inland than it is out here.
Details.
Give it to me." Watching your parents die. Like, you're trying to, like, sympathize with her all of a sudden. What the frick is going on? this chain, look, this chain was
Also, why is there no channeling at the chain? Right, the chain is just moving on its own without any weaves.
and she's like pulsing her neck veins. I think it's that thing's cutting her blood circulation off or something.
I mean, it does look like that's the case.
But like that chain looks terrible. Like absolutely terrible.
I mean, I guess it looks fine when it's already around her, but
Like
the moving part.
blasted her in. First off, I don't know if that chain's heavy enough to actually pull you down.
I mean,
Second off,
it looked pretty heavy,
not really.
but
Second
well, I
off,
mean,
it's
heavier
not
than
locked
anything
in
else.
place, so she could just spin and it would come off.
Yeah, maybe it got tangled up or something. I don't know how chains work really.
And she's sinking like notice here, she's not sinking like the chains are the weight, because that would pull her back to the floor of the ocean or the sea.
True.
She's
true.
sinking like it's at the bottom of her feet, like it's Aladdin.
Maybe there's like a super dense anchor metal.
Yeah, somewhere
on the
else in the ocean, sure. Not on her.
Well, didn't she get one power sunk though?
What?
I remember the scene at the beginning how she got here too well. Didn't she get sunk with the one power?
No,
That's,
she got
that's an Ebudar.
Are we talking book or
In book,
show?
that happened.
No, in the book, I remember the sequence in the book.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Then
here she
here-
got
She got blasted into the water by Leanne.
sort of shielded, I guess. Maybe not.
She got bound because she has a block.
Bound
so she
by a
got her
chain,
hands
right?
bound. No, she got her hands bound by the one power, and then the one power was used to create this chain going around her, and then she was force blasted off into the sea.
Yeah, so basically, think Fusroda, but with the chain around her.
Yeah.
Fusroda!
And then now she's just gonna be here like, Mummy, Mummy. I believed an imaginary girl. Super Saiyan mode. And then she turns into Moses.
And they've ruined Nynaeve's.
Now watch your hands. They're quivering.
I guess. Is that bad?
Watch. Your arms wouldn't be quivering because you're not physically holding back anything. You're using a weave that's holding back something.
Well, she might be cold.
She
Yeah,
could
maybe, yeah,
literally
that-
use the one power to remove wetness from her.
It's not going to change on body temperature.
Remember they have this thing about ignoring temperature?
In the books, yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
only the full sisters know that.
I mean,
It's not taught to the novices. and
technically
acceptants.
speaking. I mean, there's a lot of things that the sisters don't know either because you learn it as a novice or whatever.
I can almost guarantee the director said, okay, you've been under the water and it's cold, so make sure you shiver.
You've been under the water for 10 seconds. Imagine being cold and wet.
Yes.
But we don't even know if the water there is cold. It could be warm for all we know. It's the West Coast after all.
If you're more than 10 feet underwater, it's going to be cold.
But we don't know if she was.
Actually, no,
She's
if
not
it's,
standing like from where she
I
is.
guess it depends on the
Like
latitude.
look where
whether
she's
or not
at.
The
She
west
moves
coasts
this.
are cold or hot.
Watch. That's as far as she is underneath. She's like not that far down. And most of that height is because it's currently being pushed up at the moment. The actual
But
water height's not
regardless
much
of the actual water temperature, as soon as you switch from being underwater into air,
if the
you
wind
will feel
hits
cold.
if the wind hits you, yes. Now, if
yeah,
the
but
ambient
the
temperature.
wind will definitely hit her here because there's suddenly a big empty hole where water used to be. So all. the
But she
wind
has a
will go
little
east.
mountain around her though that the wind's gonna hit and go over from every direction.
Where
have
do
a
you
palace.
think the air inside this hole comes from?
Her. She's pushing away.
She's pushing the water away, but that creates a vacuum that sucks wind inside.
Not necessarily.
Unless she's creating air.
She is creating. That's literally how weaves work. She's creating
No, you
it
don't
from her.
create stuff.
She's creating it from her point of origin and blasting around her to push things away from her. That's why she's holding her hands out like I'm pushing it.
Sure.
So it's going away from her. But even if that were the case, because I don't think she's actually wet when she comes out.
Hard to say with all the
She doesn't look wet,
stuff.
but
Also, very conveniently, there's a staircase. Just
well, very conveniently, she's just walking like it's not a big deal. I'd be freaking sprinting. I'd be like, like
well, she also has to keep the water away, I guess. So,
better.
sure, yeah.
Again, you don't have to do the hand motions. And then she's right here. She doesn't look wet. And she does this. Like, look at me, I'm awesome. And the first thing that popped in my head when I saw this was the, what's that one video game where she's like, did I just do that? I just freaking did that with my mind.
Forspoken.
Yeah, Forspoken. That's literally what this reminds me of, because I was like, she's excited about it. And then she holds her hands. It's like, this is so stupid. I'm so excited! Wah! And we're back in the sand dunes of time. Melindra shows up. Doesn't even do this, which is dumb, because Melindra in the actual books would have never even hesitated.
Well, she also wouldn't have been a dark friend, right?
Melindra was a dark
Or is
friend,
this,
yes.
Is this?
Melindra's
same
the one who
character?
tries to kill Matt, because she was sleeping with Matt.
Ah, that one.
The
Okay.
Shido
Yeah.
woman.
So, but like, she's not.
She's not Malchiori, no.
Yeah.
They merged a lot of things for this. And why she has her little dot on her head, I think she's trying to go for the Kai sign, but the Kai sign's an actual necklace, if I recall correctly. Because the
Yeah, I think
Hadori's
so.
the men thing, and then the women have the thingy with the little droplet hangs off of it, kind of like Moraine's little thingy majiggy. She means to kill Red. Just dies for no reason whatsoever. I don't. Bother. And Rand's like, hey, let's go to Tyr and take over, blah, 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 blah. And you could have done this, you could have done that all the time. You were the only one there for me. And you're thinking, oh, just get it over with and shag. Holy frick. We know she's a MILF in their eyes. And she's obviously a cougar.
Okay, sure. If you say so.
Well, that's like they literally had her have sex with him in freaking versions of the future. So obviously that's what they're
Oh
thinking.
yeah, that's true. That happens. I forgot about that.
And then they're showing up like, we're here to take you back. You could have sent one person to do this. You don't need to bring a freaking army of sisters. What are you going to do? Subdue them with the freaking one power? That'll go over well.
Yeah.
We just got to keep you out of the bloody tower. Or whatever the Irish sound like. And then right here doesn't make any sense because the guards are outside. They see who they know to be the Amerlin here. Why would they bar her entry? And if something happens on the inside, the guards on the outside aren't going to know yet because the door's still shut.
Yeah, that's something.
But here's the thing. Working in concert with the Shadow. One could literally say, like you are, Elida. And then it's just like, well, you can't prove that. Like, you can't prove I'm working with the Shadow. Congratulations.
Well,
And again, why still her? Just chop her head off. You're going to chop her head off anyway. Stilling her is completely
that
pointless.
happens later.
I know, but there's no... It happens in the same freaking room, doesn't it? Or no, they beat her up and then they bring her out and then
They beat her up, send her away so that Elida can have a wardrobe change, and then bring her back for the actual.
When I saw this, I used to be an Amerlin seat once till I took an arrow to the body. This little what it looks like.
I don't know why they do this because this is not stilling.
They're using the whole pins and needles thing that they use in the books. Remember that, like they stab you with needles, imaginary needles with the one power. That's what they think they are.
Sure.
These giant, like 2-foot long needles. And
But why?
Elida could just channel by just this. Alada's channeling powers fisting.
The fist of Aletta.
That explains why her voice is gone. And then she has this really gay haircut. I mean, the frizzy hair just drives me nuts. And Mogedian, they're like, I help you. Why do I need your help? I'm killing people that are trying to help me. Why would I need your help? And then I have like a really dumb little haircut. And I'm also really psychopathic and I have no sense of being, self-preservation or sneaky or anything.
Like the
I'm
exact opposite of the actual Megadian.
in every way possible. And then we see Carnage.
Yeah, this is the result of a thing.
And then
By the way,
Lanfear and
is that
Gabriel.
Lanfear and Ravin?
Yeah,
Or-
Lanfear and Ravin just happen
Why
to
are they
know where
here?
he is. If anything, Lanfear might.
Yeah, okay, sure.
She knows that he was there, but I don't know if she knows he's dead or not.
Why bring Ravin?
Well, Ravin and Lanfear were... Ravin's like the center point for all the Chosen. He's the one that everybody's just kind of like using because he's the chill dude. He's the cool kid.
Well, that's fair. He is pretty cool.
He's pretty freaking cool. He's my favorite character in the series, ironically.
Not Dane Bornhold?
No. Dane Bornhild annoys me. No offense, Dane, but I like how his whole body's completely suspended because he just tears out
Yeah.
body.
Also, I thought they were immortal and could only be killed by a sword that was power wrought.
Well, you see, it wasn't like being stabbed through the heart. You actually had your muscles and stuff ripped out of you because reasons.
Yeah, but they can just heal that, right?
I feel like they're just trying to do a fashion show with these guys now. Every scene we see one of the Forsaken in, they're wearing some super high, doped up, like she looks like the freaking Pope.
That's true. That's true.
It's just
Wait
like,
until you see Savannah.
I've seen Savannah. She looks like it has a cobra on her head.
Yeah, so they're just sort of walking alone
We
now.
have our clan chief.
Yeah. And another one as well.
And they apparently gave him, leave to talk. Why is she wearing this weird breastplate thingy? I don't know.
That's the weird fashion, right?
She builds this giant aerodrome. Why? I don't know. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually.
Rand, when he yells, is really obnoxious, I gotta say.
This actor has the wrong voice for Rand.
Well, I mean, he talks kind of like normal, and he goes, like that's how
Well, I
he
think
talks.
So,
English is like
where's
his
the
third
evidence for
language.
this?
He's Polish, I believe.
Yeah.
So they just say, oh, for 20 years you've worked in secret with Moraine Sedai.
Yes.
How did they know that?
Yeah, also,
Well, because they've known each other for 20 years, so clearly they've been working in secret. Circular reasoning.
but they're not working together, right? Because last time she saw Moraine, Moraine sort of ran off with Lanfear.
Yeah, that's why they're connecting her to the shadow.
Yeah, but she was opposing that.
Yeah, that's what makes her working with the shadow.
So opposing the shadow makes you someone who works with the shadow.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Welcome to the Red Lodge.
I guess that checks out.
I love her because that matters.
And you
This
know where
is
she
madness.
is.
No,
Right.
this is the Red Aja. Kick Swan
This
off.
is the White Tower.
Yeah, of course. She just tells them, because why not?
Yeah. Here he looks a little chubby, but he's still a pretty decent actor for Rourke. Traitor!
So this
How
is
are
where
you
Ryan
a traitor for
revealed-
telling somebody like this is what you're doing?
Also, why would you try and kill someone like this?
You can literally use the one power and go whoosh, and chop her head off.
Yeah, they can just do the like I don't know what they used on Swan at the end of this
Chopping your head off?
episode. Yeah.
That's what I just said.
Why use strangling?
I love
as
how
your
they literally
chosen
make the
method?
shadow black, and they literally
yeah.
make everybody else not.
They are shadow
But they're
people,
so
right?
confused because at the beginning of this separation, there's a whole bunch of shadow on the other side, putting like blades up against the shadow on the other side, and vice versa. It was just this.
Wait a minute.
And they're like, "Oh wait, you're the wrong color," and then run over to the other side. It's this funny little thing.
Yeah, so this guy on the top here.
Because it's like this thing where they don't understand that the ideal, like, if you're not Shido, you don't hang out with the Shido, or you hang out by sect. And if you're hanging out by sect, you're not
well,
going
it's
to attack.
actually sept with
Or
a
sept,
E.
sorry, yeah. I mean, it's a sect,
Yeah.
technically speaking, but
Slightly
it's a sept.
different.
It's a septum. Um, it's a sect of a septum. Anyway, sorry, Emperor Septum, whatever his face from Oblivion's popping in my head. But yeah, so like, you're not gonna have like the maidens. I think they're the only ones that do not break off. Like the shadow that are with the maidens stay with the maidens. Everybody, all
Yep.
the other shadow like bounce out from their sept. But this wouldn't happen here to begin with.
Mhm.
And it didn't happen to begin with. They were all very, very quiet and everything.
Yeah.
And she's still going, and she's unconscious of some sort. And then she just powers up, and Elida looks frightened for some reason. Land's an idiot.
Yeah. Well, we knew that already.
Why not?
Just stab rather than slice.
Here comes
And that works.
Venom again.
No, but this time it's good venom.
Well, Venom is good. It's some strip.
Yeah, no, but this is evil venom.
He's an anti-hero. And I would like to make it known for the record, anti-heroes are better than heroes.
I don't think that's how that works.
That's literally how that works. An anti-hero actually takes care of the problem. The heroes delay the problem.
So, what definition do you use for hero?
Oh, don't. We had just like a 3-hour discussion on this before, Steve.
Okay, sure, that's right. Yeah.
Suck them in. Basically, heroes allegedly won't kill. Anti-heroes will kill.
That's not in the definition of hero.
I know. The classical definition of a hero just means to overcome hardship. But
yeah,
that's not how they do it in comic books. But
well, comic books aren't really good sometimes.
Well, that's the character traits they desire in a hero. So
well, that's
just
the way the
the
setting
American
is. That
version.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. Well,
there's nothing really to talk about. They're all just Swan rambling
Yeah,
about
so,
how she loves Moraine so much and Moraine getting stabbed.
Why stab her rather than just sort of erase her from existence, right?
Well, because balefire is harmful to the pattern, don't you know?
Yeah, but she doesn't care.
I mean, she does. She wants to rule over everything.
And also, it's not actually harmful if you use it in limited amounts.
Because they had
yeah,
such a
you have to go
connection.
full. You have to go full Rand, like with the turning collar to actually harm it. You know.
I guess so.
And
Although in
no.
theory, let's say Rand did erase the entire universe with Balefire there, would it just keep spinning back up?
Would it be what?
Well,
Well, whatever Rand was going to do with the Choden Call, like he was going to like erase reality itself or whatever he wanted to do. Let's say he succeeded there. The way the wheel of time is structured, wouldn't it just keep spinning back up?
How would it spin back up if the wheel's destroyed?
I don't know if you could.
yeah, I don't know.
Well, you clearly can, because they're like, you could destroy the pattern and everything. If you have no pattern, you have nothing the wheel can make.
But what the pattern? Well, okay, that's a side discussion. Let's just keep moving forward here. I want to get this episode out of the way.
Yeah, so
it's
Rain,
raining.
yeah, the portal tearing girl is going away.
So we're about to get the end to the
Lifeboat
1984 Dune
camps.
application.
We've got them on a ship because they.
We just skip like the whole thing in between.
Yeah.
Wait, do we get to,
this is the narration, right, from one of
do
the
we get to
prophecies,
Moraine? Do we show
for
Moraine
some
forming
reason.
Horizon Shuriken?
Yeah, we went way past that. There's a whole lot of nothing happening.
The best part of the episode is the closing credits.
No, the best part of the episode is not having to watch it.
That's the best use of the episode.
No, the best use of this episode is toilet paper.
Well,
Is it?
Yep.
it's a digital thing.
I'm
Especially when you have the worst case of diarrhea.
You would have to actually waste paper for that.
I know. I'd rather use that paper for something else. So I'll use this episode instead.
Okay.
So you look confused, but don't hurt yourself over it, Sage. It's okay.
How did I hurt myself?
By thinking too hard.
That's impossible.
No, it's actually not. Actually. But yeah, there's.
When they murdered Swan in the show, I said to the chat, we don't need no stinking Swan. It's obviously has a role in the rest of the books or something.
Yeah, I mean,
This scene reminded me in The Walking Dead when they had Negan kill an extra character to surprise the fans. You guys get the reference?
You know, actually, you just guys inspired me for the thumbnail. I'm gonna put Swans on a roll. Oh, glorious! I just remember to do that now.
If someone really goes AI, they can take Swan being beheaded.
Okay, I tried Grok to like make me a freaking thumbnail, and it couldn't do it. I'm like,
No, you wouldn't need. I'm talking like way beyond our skill level with this. If you take Swan being beheaded,
YouTube's
ending-
might be considered beyond my skill
and the
level.
ending of Conan the Barbarian when he beheads Tulsa Doom, and have Swan's head roll down the entire. You know,
Oh no!
or make a cool video
You
with a
do.
lot of.
You do the
You'll be
you know that
surprised.
song where like they do 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 do
Yeah.
do. You do that, but like it's going through space. Just have her head constantly rolling through space.
Well, there's a lot of stuff where, like, they can start with the head where Conan cuts off Swan's head and rolls down the stairs. Then they go to that video from the Cranberries where the bowling ball is rolling and put Swan's head there. You know, they can keep cutting it all together.
Anything that's ever rolling in the history
Yeah,
of
just
cinema
Swan's
is
head,
just
you
Swan's
know?
head.
Um,
It's just like 6-hour compilation of her head just rolling.
some
through
some
space.
people playing soccer with Swan's head.
Shaolin soccer, do that. Where
Yeah,
like,
you know, or so some trans dude's volleyball spike when the trans dude volleyball spike and broke that girl's leg or whatever. Put Swan's head in that scene.
or better yet, you have the trans keeper that they had at the beginning of the episode when
Yeah,
she does
I'll do it.
when she does the gong. That's when her head pops
Yeah.
up. It just goes rolling.
So people playing hot potato with Swan's head.
Oh,
You know,
gosh. Actually, I gotta say, out of this series, the best part of the series is the dark humor that came from it.
yeah.
But yeah, there's literally like nothing here, unfortunately, and it's miserable.
And the thing about Rand and the Rain, this was literally the ending to Dune 1994 adaptation.
Well, that
Well, not
happens
Dune,
in the books, but in Ruidion, I believe.
He makes the fountain work again, so there's a wellspring
Yeah.
of water underground or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. He
Well, does he make it
reaches
rain
down deep into the
Alcadon?
He reaches right deep into the aquifer.
no. So they are at Alcadal. He makes it rain there.
Yeah, he
But then also Asmodean has decided to break into Riddance, and so he goes there via teleport. And then they fight.
a little skimming.
Yeah,
Not quite teleport, but yeah.
well, it's one of the teleportation methods.
Traveling methods, but yes.
Yeah, that's also one of the teleportation methods.
Teleportation's instantaneous, good sir. It's not teleportation.
Not necessarily.
Know your
But
place.
they go to
plebeian.
Riddance, and then they do a big fight, and then during the fight, he sort of
No,
think-
no,
well, no, actually, no, he
after,
doesn't do
it's
it during the
it's
fight.
afterwards.
During
He's
the
like, I can't
fight-
believe I didn't do this before, and
during the
brings it
fight,
up.
they sort of break the whole fog barrier,
yes.
and then afterwards, a bunch of Aiel come in, and he just does like the.
Well, he's like, I can't believe I didn't think of trying this before, and then he reaches into the earth and then finds a lake, and then basically pops it
Yeah.
up and creates a lake in Ruidion. So, yes, I was wondering. I was like, I think he did do that, but again, being like, see, he did that just like the books, and then see all these
And
other things
actually,
he
he-
did just not like the books.
He actually did use that earlier to get some drinking water from Matt in the book when they were both in the city.
But was it a permanent thing though?
Well, I don't know if it was permanent, but he did it only for one fountain.
Yeah, because when he does it, when he leaves Ruidion, it's a whole lake.
Hmm.
Well, he popped the aquifer.
Well, he knows that the lake is down there because he tried it the first time.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so underground water is under pressure, right? So
Under
that's
pressure.
the aquifer. So he makes a hole to the aquifer so the underground pressure will force the water out.
Sorry, song stuck in my head. Yeah. So this season's over with.
Thank God.
Praise God, it's over with.
Will we get a fourth? There is
I
a
sure hope
campaign
not.
out there for them fighting for it, and they're trying to do whatever they can do to get a fourth. I have no idea if they will succeed. I hope they don't. But if they do, we'll have to suffer again. So,
Yep. Well, so I sure hope it doesn't succeed.
well, you better be activist against it then, huh? Motivation. That's the chop suey. That's just how that works. Anyway, yeah, I can't really say anything except nothing made sense in this episode. Where the pacing might have been nice, it was pacing of just nonsense after nonsense after nonsense after
Well, the
nonsense
thing
after
about pacing
nonsense.
is it got you through the episode like without all those stupid like side trips and whatever, you know.
It took me 6 tries to sit down and watch this episode.
Imagine how many it would have taken if you had like 17 more sex scenes and you know.
I skip all those.
Yeah, at this point I skipped those too, but you know.
I mean, I feel like on average I skip about 15 minutes of each episode just because it's just like I don't care, 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 I don't care. Like show me something that resembles the Wheel of Time, not like, oh look, they did this thing just like they did in the books. Once in 24 episodes. That's not going to win me over. You're 1/24th off by a lot.
I'm running out of time with my back, so I gotta get
Sure.
going.
We're just closing it up here anyway, so.
Yeah.
Um,
In short, this season sucked just as much as the previous seasons. Go read the books.
the books are superior. I constantly see people in forums and whatnot saying, "What happens with this? What does this make sense?" The show didn't share it with you because it doesn't have that answer in the show, and they don't know because they don't read the books. So the best answer you're gonna get, read the books. It's way better.
Yep.
If you don't want to read it because you don't want to sit down and read, get the audiobooks.
Mm-hmm. That works too.
They're fantastic. Do not get the Rosamund Pike ones. Get the
Yeah.
Kate Redding and Michael Kramer versions.
Also, I think there's another version out there.
Which are these ones? Hold on.
Well,
I
I'm
don't
heading out, guys.
remember the name of the guy.
Talk to you all in a couple days.
Mm-hmm. Farewell.
Get this version. Shoot.
Right, but how do we know which version that is? Because it just says Memory of Light.
Because it has the art.
Okay.
If it has the art, it is by Matt, by the way. The art of the books, the actual original books, are going to be what get you stuff. Also, cool things about these. I got this for like $14, brand new, still sealed. It comes with little, usually little interviews. I don't think this one does, but all the ones that had Robert Jordan participate in it, does actually have little types of stuff. I guess there is an excerpt here at the bottom that you can get. But they'll do like interviews with Robert Jordan on all the books that he was participating in, because you can hear his thoughts on things and stuff, which I like the idea of because I don't think they're in the books in any shape or form. So unless you're going to a convention or something that had Robert Jordan at it, you probably aren't getting all this extra detail information and stuff. So it is pretty nice that you can get that. Just avoid anything that's made by Amazon with the Amazon covers and whatnot because they're terrible, and don't support trash, basically.
I myself am waiting until they get the books again without the sticker thingies. I wonder how long that will take. Well, new ones, right? New prints.
Why don't you just get the old ones?
Because I need to find them, and I'm not really a fan of secondhand stuff.
If they're in really good condition, why not?
Well, because
It's the
I
same.
can't see if they're in really good condition until I have them.
That's what descriptions are for, and you can return as well.
Not always.
Now you're just making excuses. He's like, shoot, he got me. Why don't you just move over to the States and I can hook you up with a lot of really good places that have a
Why
lot
would
of
I
good copies.
want to do that?
Possibly no income tax.
But not guaranteed.
Well, we're looking a lot closer to that than what you got going on over there. So,
Well, maybe if it happens, maybe then. But
you and everybody else, you might want to get over here ahead of time. Otherwise, they're not going to let you in. And besides, the process takes a while, so you might as well start it now. And then by the time it actually takes effect, there you go. You're in. You've got 4 years. Let's put it that way.
fair, maybe.
Although it is funny, and not to get political because I don't really care about the politics, but I have heard some funny things about like Trump where like they're gonna say JD Vance is gonna run for president with Trump as his vice president, and when he gets into office he's gonna switch with him. So Trump becomes president again. And they're just gonna keep doing
I
this.
don't think that's allowed, right?
There's nothing against it, technically speaking. Like Trump can become a vice president after 2 terms as being president. He just can't be elected.
Is that
You can't be elected as president more than twice.
interesting?
Now, if he's elected as vice president, you can do vice president as many times as you want.
I thought there was a limit on that as well.
As far as I'm aware, no. Only the presidency.
Okay, could be interesting. Who knows?
I just think it's a funny concept. Just be like, yeah, you don't like Trump? Get ready for 50 more years of him because he's just going to keep getting put into vice presidencies. It would be hilarious. Unless they change the ruling before then, I don't know. But if they do that, they need to put term limits on in Congress because that will be better. Why that's not automatically just by definition there, I don't know. But yes, I mean, it's better over here than over there, so. And that's even with it being as bad as it is here. So, but yeah, this season sucked. I didn't want to watch it. I really didn't want to watch the last episode.
You had to.
I did have to, unfortunately. It's a failing of mine, actually, reviewing things I care about because, you know, I care about them. I hate liking things because they always destroy them every single freaking time. And I just want to have fun and I want to enjoy my stuff, but we can't have that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be probably 3 to 4 years before we get another season, if we get another season, because it wasn't already in the process of being produced, and then they have to wait for anybody who's already acting to get off of their contract to go to back onto the contract, unless you're just cutting out a whole bunch of characters off of the freaking season. I don't know. Whatever their reasoning is, I don't care as long as they just stop it. Now, here's the thing. If this series is doing as well as they claim it is, aka it's #1 on Amazon, it is not by any stretch of the imagination. They're like trying to claim that it's beating Reacher. I'm like, you gotta be joking. Reacher has a much larger audience than freaking Wheel of Time. Not even close. But we'll see. So, I don't know. I'm hoping they don't. I guess we'll just go back to doing our old classical stuff that we can do. We could finish that one stupid part 2 or part 3 or part 4 or whatever that girl's name response video. I almost forgot what it called. I'm tired. I have 2 hours of sleep today.
Lovely.
Yeah. That was a good stream though. But yeah, I think we'll have to finish off the Tolkien Society stuff as well. Hopefully, Gadfly will get us the other stuff from those other bits and bobs of conferences he went to and the other Tolkien-based ones. and we'll have more to talk about in that. Excuse me. So, I know you don't do anything, and I can't ask Matt because he's already left. Excuse me.
Yep. Well, such is life.
It is the way it is. But he's probably going to be a Roman on the Empire. He'll probably be doing WrestleMania stuff on somebody else's channel, same as he usually does. Oh, yeah. If you are interested in episode 6, like you really want it, leave a comment and I will torture myself and do it again, even if I have to do it by myself. There was nothing in that episode really worth it. I don't even remember what was in the episode. That's how much it was not worth it. And yeah. So I'm gonna try to do video game streams, maybe a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday type territory. I don't know specific dates yet, but I did one last night / this morning. It started technically around midnight, and it went for 6 hours because I was having too much fun, and the chat was telling me what they wanted me to do. They wanted me to glitch in the end game sword, so I glitched in the end game sword at the beginning of the game. Also,
which game?
Fable.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, and then I also found an infinite merch loop for gold. So just basically buy all the green apples and sell them to the guy, and then buy them back from him at a cheap price and sell them to him for a profit, 3 times profit, and then just keep doing that over and over again. And you just basically have infinite money. I don't know why, and I can't think of it in my head. I could have sworn on the PC version, every single building was purchasable and you could rent them out. But for some reason, only specific houses are. And it's like 1 per town, and it's driving me nuts. And I'm like, was the second one? Maybe it was the second one. But I don't remember the second one being in the same location. I thought it was a different part of the continent. So it's been like 15, 20 years since I played these games. I don't remember anything. So I do have the guides for 2 and 3, but I didn't have the guide for 1. I apparently have a sealed copy of the Elder Scrolls Oblivion guide, which is weird. I do have the Elder Scrolls and Fallout New Vegas and a couple other Elder Scrolls Skyrim guide and Witcher 3 guides and stuff like that. But I had one of our chat guys one of the viewers was in the chat and was basically just guiding me through everything. And they hadn't played the game in like 3 years, and they were like, "Yeah, go over here, turn this way, go this way." I'm just like, "How do you remember all this stuff? You haven't played in 3 years." But it was very fun, very helpful. I was surprised the chat was there at all, but a lot of people apparently showed up, and I didn't know it or realize it, so that was cool, and I appreciate everyone who did show up. So if you were one of the people who showed up, you're freaking awesome! And hopefully you'll show up for the next one, whenever that is. It might be tonight. I don't know. I'm going to try to probably bum rush through my normal nightly stuff and then jump on because I was roaring to keep playing, but I was like, I have to go to bed because I have to wake up and talk about Oblivion and Oblivion Remastered. And
lovely.
It's kind of, we don't know where it's at the moment. If the body type A or body type 1, body type 2, replacing the male female is the only problem with the entire thing, it's not the entire. It's not the end of the world. You could probably mod that out. However, it still is a problem.
Or just never look at it after the character creation.
That's the funny thing is that it only pops up that point because in the actual game they still do she and he and her and him. Like they still relegate you to the binary genders, sexes, whatever you would call them, and it's just like. So why have this in here? And Lords of the Fallen, being all based and everything, made like $3 million off of a 2-year-old game by changing it to male and female. That's funny. They sold a bunch of copies because we want to reward people who do good stuff. But anyway, that's fun stuff. So hopefully some more of those. I'm playing through the Fable 1 and then 2 and then 3 because there are only 3 Fables and there will probably only ever be 3 Fables. I'm going to play through them, but I'm playing through them with you in mind. So if you're in chat and you want me to behave a particular way, if you want me to punch somebody, stab somebody, be a good guy, be a bad guy, wear the weirdest outfits, whatever the case might be. I'm letting you guys pick, so we can have some fun with that. That's why I got the glitch to get the Sword of Eons, because I was told to by chat, so I did it. I didn't know there were glitches and cheats and stuff like that, but apparently there are, so I did it. We're hunting down plate mail because I just had to like glitch a whole bunch of money to get, because freaking plate mail is expensive, and you save somebody in the freaking middle of like the Darkwood territory, and they're like, you don't deserve a discount or anything. You're not good enough to have a discount. I'm like, what are you smoking? You're charging me more, not less, and I just saved your life and a whole bunch of other things. But yeah, I'm having a hard time hunting down some crunchy chicks. I need 11 crunchy chicks to eat in front of a demon door to show him how evil I am, and I can't find them. So I have to wait 2 days to buy another 4, and then 2 days and buy another 4, because I already have 4. So just basically just gotta keep going. But that's what I have going right now. I am also script writing another video that I would like to say would be my highest produced video. That just, I don't know how to produce videos, so anything is technically higher than 0. So hopefully it won't suck terribly. Otherwise, I will die of shame, and you'll have to go watch some other boring person on YouTube, because, I mean, I'm terribly boring. So why wouldn't anybody else? But so yeah, that's all I got right now. But maybe in the future, if we can figure out how to do it. I don't know how to do that personally off the top of my head. Is use the net play function for ROMs to play things over the interwebs to participate. We could possibly do a Time Splitters multiplayer campaign, co-op campaign, and or multiplayer mode, which is just freaking fun, because Time Splitters is the best FPS shooter to ever exist. Period. And I'm going to cover those after Fable. Time Splitters 2 and Time Splitters 3, because Time Splitters 1, unfortunately, I can't find it, and 2, it's not backwards compatible with my Xbox. So
That's unfortunate.
yes, there's a lot of unfortunate things in the world of licensing, and I hate it with a passion. But the good news is I can still play 2 and 3. And 2 is what I got me into Time Splitters, and 3 perfected it. It was great. And they were working on 4, and then they screwed the develop studio over. So there's that. So anyway, thanks everybody for hanging out. I know I tried to avoid the topic as much as possible for this episode because it was that bad. Not a whole lot happened except a whole lot of nonsense, and a whole lot of nonsense didn't make sense. That's why it's nonsense. So if you don't like nonsense, please like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Even dislike if you did not like this. It helps with the engagement, because YouTube doesn't know how to make an algorithm that works, that makes logical sense. So share if you don't mind with people if you think they would like it. And if you don't think they would care about this, maybe you perhaps find another video that I've done, or a live stream I've done, like a game stream, or covering the Nintendo Direct or the Oblivion Remaster video or something, and let them see it and see what they think. Am I entertaining enough? Am I not entertaining enough? Or if they want to come in and be the chat there, and they can let me entertain them personally, I would be more than happy to do that, because I just like to hang out and just chill. So ideally I can have fun though. And I'm pretty sure it just froze. Oh, there we go. We're unfroze now. And we're delayed.
That's nice.
It's classic. Anyway, thanks everybody for hanging out, and we will see you guys the next time. So remember, my friends, walk in the light.
Farewell.